If we accept what the Russian scientist Nikolai Kardashev said, there are many civilizations out there that are much smarter than us. Scientists have recently found 7 stars that show signs of being influenced by very advanced alien civilizations. Beings we can't even begin to imagine may have built power plants around these stars, and we are seeing aliens take energy from the stars. It sounds really cool. There are 7 star systems close to Earth that might be home to clever beings that can directly access the power of the universe. Beings of this level are building power plants in the universe, while we are thinking about how to save our world and find new energy sources. They use the light of whole star groups or galaxies, and some of these beings are said to have direct access to the grid that made the universe. Right now, the search for life beyond Earth is in full swing. The James Webb Space Telescope is looking for signs of life on over 1 million other worlds. If we can prove that aliens are doing things, it will be the most important finding in human history. James Webb looks around the area around exoplanets for signs of man-made light sources and biological signals like a lot of water. There have already been some interesting leads that point to the existence of alien life, but we are still waiting for the final proof. At the same time, other researchers have said something amazing. They have positively identified 7 stars that show signs of being influenced by a very advanced society. People say that these beings are so far along on the Kardashev scale that they may have helped make the world. What does this Kardashev scale really show? Would you believe that since the 1960s we've had a scale that sorts aliens into groups based on how smart they are likely to be? Aliens live in space, but many scientists at NASA still won't even say it. This is despite the fact that we have had a scientifically based classification of these alien civilizations since 1964. The scale wasn't created by a random scientist or anyone else. Nikolai Kardashev, one of Russia's most famous researchers, came up with the idea of grouping alien cultures according to their ability to use energy. A renowned astronomer, he was the first director of the Aerospace Center of the Russian Academy of Sciences in Moscow. Kardashev thought there must be other living things in the world, but he couldn't be sure. There must be extraterrestrials because the world is so big, and there are so many stars and planets in it. This is still true today. Kardashev wasn't a dreamer or someone who believed in utopias. The scientist's thoughts were based on reasoning, statistics, and a big-picture view of the world. It dawned on him that the ability to obtain and use energy was directly related to the development of intelligence. A society needs more energy as it becomes more advanced. At the same time, as the mental and social abilities of a species improve, new ways of generating energy become available. Beings that have spiritualized into pure energy are at the top of the scale. It is said that these beings can even alter and use the grid of the universe. You can be sure that these beings will no longer build power stations, but will get the energy they need by changing the laws of physics. Type 1 colonies can already use all the energy of their home planet. This allows them to take care of their world and get along as humans. Type 2 life forms have outgrown their world and are already building things like Dyson spheres that use all the energy of their star. They take the energy potential of their star and send it directly to their world. These creatures should have an infinite amount of energy. But there's more. There are Type 3 civilizations all over the world. They need the power of other stars and sometimes the power of an entire galaxy. You can imagine where we are now, where humans are right now. It is a Type 0 society slowly moving towards a Type 1 society. We know a lot about the world, but there are still some things we don't know. To learn more, we have many ideas but few facts. On top of that, we are still damaging the Earth, using fossil fuels and building nuclear power stations. We are just beginning to make peace with each other as a people. Sometime in the next 300 years, we could take a big step towards Type 1. There are technosignatures and Dyson spheres and 7 stars. Although we are behind on the CESF scale, we are fortunate to have some very smart scientists who are constantly working to improve our tools. Now, a group of experts from around the world has come up with a way to find Dyson sphere technosignatures. The Hephaestus project used astronomical scans to look at a huge number of stars. The results from the Gaia TAS and Y sky maps were truly amazing, but there are enough facts to say that Dyson spheres are present for some stars to show such strange changes in their surroundings. Aliens built these circles around stars as a type of power plant, but even with the facts, there are still some problems. Figuring out what Dyson spheres are reliably is hard. Basically, researchers look for things like flashing that makes the stars look less bright. The possible power plants cover stars in whole or in part. If we had definitely found a Dyson sphere, we might have been able to get in touch with a highly intelligent alien species. But the question comes up of whether we could ever get in touch with these people. But just knowing that there are other species that are very advanced could help us grow a lot. We would know that Kardashev was right, and what kinds of strange things can happen in the world. The catch is that the star's strange dips that have been seen so far can also be explained by natural things, like dust rings around the stars. Periodic dimming can also be caused by nebulae that give off too much infrared light. These 7 stars might have been changed by aliens. A group of researchers put out a list of 7 stars that stand out and are thought to be possible Dyson sphere prospects. Tabby's star, which used to be called KIC 8462852, was at the top of the list. This F-type main sequence star is in the constellation Cygnus. It is about 1,470 light-years away from Earth, and its brightness changed in strange ways. The Kepler Space Telescope was the first to notice the changes. Up to 22% of the values that were thought to be normal or natural were off, which led to different theories. There were different kinds of Dyson spheres and natural causes, like comet swarms or dust clouds. The star Epic 204278916 is young and is in the constellation Scorpius. It is about 400 light-years away from us. This star is just around the corner in space. It scared researchers when this star dimmed up to 65.5% of the time and not always. A technosignature should be backed up by long-term data. No matter how powerful our telescopes were, we were not able to definitively show that Epic 204278916 had a Dyson sphere. The fading could also be caused by big clouds of dust or pieces of space junk. Another candidate, VVVWIT08, showed a very strong dimming a little further away, in the direction of Sagittarius, about 25,000 light-years from Earth. The star's brightness dropped by up to 97% in a short period of time. Strictly speaking, we don't know what caused the dimming. Studies have shown that it could be a good candidate for a Dyson sphere, but this has not been proven either. We would need to see the alien power source or find strong evidence for other possibilities before we could be sure. Until then, we can only talk about an idea, and scientists think that the dimming is caused by a huge cloud of dust or some unknown object. Let's look at TYC 882412440, which is light-years away and brings us further back to Earth. It dims and brightens over time, which for a long time suggested a possible cloud of orbital debris, but this will never be known for sure. There is a large disk of dust, so the possibility of a Dyson ball is still there. At a distance of about 350 light-years, HD 139139 is a fairly close star. It is a sun-like star in the sign of Libra. It hasn't been explained why the star is dimming in a strange way. Several ideas have been put forward to explain the dimming, including Dyson spheres or pieces of space junk. Dyson spheres have been shown to come in 4 different types. Freeman Dyson, a scientist, came up with the idea of Dyson spheres, which are interesting hypothetical superstructures. Dyson used the Kardashev scale to make different models of what these alien power stations might look like. All the different models have been shown to be true by mathematics. They could theoretically exist, and even humans can figure this out with our simple tools. The options and technologies that these very advanced societies use are still up in the air. It's likely that the real options are much greater than what we know today. Let's start with the Dyson swarm. The best-known Dyson model has many satellites or mirrors orbiting the star in a complicated way. Light is collected by each satellite, which then sends the energy to the planet's population. A swarm is more adaptable than a fixed hull, because it can easily grow by adding more sections at any time. Real Dyson swarms could be made up of billions of smaller objects, meaning that Type 2 civilizations on the Kardashev scale could achieve them. The Dyson hull is a smooth sphere that orbits the star. This makes it a closed body. In theory, the hull could use almost all the energy from the radiation because it would absorb it. But this structure would require a huge amount of materials and complex ways to keep it stable, which would make it very difficult to build technically. The shell would also need a way to dissipate excess energy and keep the structure balanced. We still don't fully understand what a shell is, and we don't have the tools we need to build one. A third idea is the Dyson bubble. This is a large screen that could go around the star and use all its light energy. It would be made of materials that reflect light. This idea has received a lot of attention in recent years, and studies have already shown how to make a bubble for this purpose. It's also possible that these Dyson bubbles do more than just mask the star's energy. They could also alter the star itself in the way it sends and receives radiation. Finally, the Dyson circle is the fourth idea. It would be shaped like a ring or an arc, and it would go around the star. It's thought that the idea will be a lot easier to put together, which could make it a step toward more advanced power plants. Smaller pieces of material that make energy and orbit at a certain distance from the star can make Dyson arcs work. Dyson spheres could be real in space, but we can't say for sure. As soon as more stars are seen, we might be able to show that these kinds of structures exist.